Loyalty. Giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to a person or institution. When you think of Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, what comes to mind? I would guess legends to the game of basketball, but I think it goes deeper. We associate them with a team, a legacy, a generation, a childhood, or an upbringing. They were more than great players. They were a part of a team's story, a single jersey. Tim Duncan's first year in the NBA was 1997, when he was drafted to the Spurs. The Sony PlayStation had just come out, and if you had one of these, you were pretty cool. Nearly 20 years and 5 championships later, Tim Duncan retires with the San Antonio Spurs. Of course, we could see a similar story when we look at Kobe, Dirk, or Larry Bird, who all had very impressive careers. Yet, still, that's not the point I'm trying to make. Rather, they were loyal to a single team, franchise, and fan base, something that's pretty honorable but has also become increasingly rare. This trend is actually much more noticeable in baseball. When we take a look at the top 20 players who have played the most games with a single team, you could notice 2 things. There's a whole lot of Hall of Famers on that list, and many having respective statues at their stadiums, and number 2, only 5 on that list have played in the past 20 years, and more surprisingly, none of them are currently active. Which all raises the question, is staying with one team throughout an athlete's career a thing of the past, and why? But first I will say, there's not something intrinsically wrong with switching teams. As a matter of fact, it can be a very practical and logical choice for most athletes because of salary caps, personal changes, luxury taxes, and of course the pure nature of business. You might even remember Kobe asking to be traded to the Bulls in 2007, but not before he would go on to win 2 more championships with the Lakers, likely in part because of the addition of Pau Gasol. But essentially, for most athletes who aren't drafted by a top franchise, is an instant contender, and wins a few championships, there are many reasons a player would leave. But before we move on, I will point out 2 more key reasons things would have likely been much different 30 years ago. Number 1, there was no social media. Athletes who developed rivalries with others generally wouldn't be in the same position as they are today to mend their beef off the court. They would have to wait until the teams went head-to-head again. It's a much smaller world today, and with our current online conditions, most players have much more of an opportunity to become great friends and choose to play with each other, which in part lessens the athlete's ties and loyalty to a single franchise. And number 2, nowadays, as opposed to decades ago, AAU basketball dominates the youth landscape for playing the sport. Kobe Bryant actually had some very strong opinions towards this subject.
Because it doesn't teach our players how to play the right way, how to think the game, how to play in combinations of threes. I think everything is it's a reward system. I think coaches who are teaching the game are getting rewarded, one fashion or another, and it's just a showcase.
I would also point out it's likely because of showcases pushing flashy dunks and handles, it incentivized putting the athlete before the team, thus reinforcing this new and growing cultural phenomenon. But regardless of how we ended up in a league with fewer and fewer players committing to one team, all of the Generation X era players are now gone. It's a new league. Some might call it a more selfish one, with more commitment issues, a Generation Me, which all makes the Golden State's loyal trio of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green that much more rare. For the past 11 years, Stephen Curry has been with Golden State. Klay and Draymond have also been with the Warriors their entire careers, and there is yet to be so much as a credible rumor of any of these 3 being tied to another team. An article recently came out where Klay Thompson's dad, the great Lakers legend Michael Thompson, was featured on Stephen Curry's parents' podcast, Raising Fame. He wasn't hesitant to express not only how much his son enjoyed playing with theirs, but also Klay's eventual plans to retire as a member of the Warriors, where the 2 jerseys would hang together, maybe in addition to Draymond's. The Warriors these past 5 years have been a spectacle, a true fundamental powerhouse, and an anomaly. 2020 for the Warriors was obviously an underwhelming year, primarily due to Curry and Klay not being healthy, when they otherwise could have pursued a 5th straight Western Conference Finals appearance. I took a closer look at what this all could mean, as well as what significance Curry's first game back had in one of our more recent videos. The link's going to be right there and below if you want to check it out. But in addition to some of the more nuanced details of what Curry's return could mean, I do also suggest that it's no surprise, however, when we really think about how well the Warriors performed in the past half decade, it's simply because it was orchestrated by the Big Three. The team shared a level of chemistry and selflessness that simply hasn't been seen before. This isn't to say Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh, or Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett weren't also dominating as big threes and playing together seamlessly. You can make the argument they were, maybe better. But what team do you think of when you look at any of those players individually? And I guess that's kind of my point. The three existed together in a very brief period of our generation's NBA. On the other hand, the Warriors' Big Three may well have defined our generation's NBA. The landscape of professional sports has changed. I'm not here to point out anybody's three-point percentage or talk up a team. The Warriors could have easily seen the end of their glory days and a legacy that's come and passed. But rather, we should take a second to appreciate the past 10 years we've gotten to watch three of the NBA's best play together, and contemplate the significance of their likely sequential shared decade as well. Alright, if you haven't already and you enjoy this type of content, drop a like. If you guys want to reach out, hit that link below. Let's have a conversation. I'm always responding within 24 hours. And finally, hit that subscribe button for weekly content just like this. From your favorite coach's favorite editor, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.